Hey everybody, this is Alex from Lavos. Welcome back to the Sports Show, episode 2. For this episode, I got a new co-host with me,
How y'all doing? My name's Anthony.
and just like the title says, we are going to be talking about sports, specifically basketball, and football. We got a bit to go over. Obviously, episode 1 that I did by myself was 2 days ago, and there were quite a bit that happened 2 days ago. We'll start off with something easy. The Miami Heat in their series with the number 1 seeded Boston Celtics won Game 2 in Boston without Jimmy Butler to tie the series heading back to Miami. Anthony, what do you think about that?
I thought it was a great win for Miami, especially without Jimmy Butler. No one really expected them to have a chance in this series, and this win really shows that they can compete. I don't know if they could compete at the same level as Boston in a 7-game series, especially without Jimmy Butler, but it was a great game overall. Bam Adebayo had a really good game. He had 21 points, 10 rebounds, as well as Tyler Hero with 24 points and 14 assists.
A big thing with that game is the Heat hitting a franchise record 23 three-pointers in this game, which is the most they've hit in any game all season, playoffs and regular season. Guys in particular like Caleb Martin, he was 5 of 6 from behind the arc. I'm pretty sure Tyler Hero also hit 6 from behind the arc as well. So very big shooting, great shooting from the whole team in general to get them right back in this series.
Definitely. I mean, just looking at the stats, Jaime Jaquez, 50% from 3. Nikola Jovic, 75% from 3. Caleb Martin, 83.3% from 3. And Tyler Hero, 54.5. That's not even to mention a bad shooting night from Duncan Robinson. So if he had a good shooting night, there's only so far they could go if they're shooting this well.
That is true. Now, the main question now is, will Jimmy Butler make it back in this series?
I don't think so. I think the reports are sprained MCL. I'm not 100% positive.
Sprained MCL could really last a bit.
So, yeah, I mean, I could personally talk about injuries with the knee. It takes a while to recover from. So, I think their plan or their hope is for him to come back soon. As in maybe like if they could take it to a 6 or 7 game series, but it's really difficult to tell at this time if he'll be back.
That is true. We'll go on to another one. The OKC Thunder go up 2-0 over the 8th seeded Pelicans after a very dominating Game 2 win. It was more of just New Orleans not taking care of the basketball in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, terrible game offensively when they're turning over the ball more than they have assists.
Yeah, for the exact amount they had 16 assists and 17 turnovers. I was watching the game myself, and a lot of these were self-inflicted. There were a lot of out of bounds, a lot of offensive fouls, a lot of charging fouls, some illegal screens. It wasn't more of just Oklahoma City's defense, which obviously is really good. It was more of just self-inflicted wounds from New Orleans themselves.
Definitely, but at the same time, let's give some credit to OKC because they played a really good game. Shea had 33 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. It was an all-around really good game from this young core, especially Chet with 26 and 7. Giddey had 13 and 6, and all around they had a really good game. I think they had a really good game plan against the Pelicans, and a lot of people surprisingly have been low on the Thunder, even though they are a 1 seed. I understand they are young, but they definitely got a lot of players, and they're ready to play.
Going back to what you said about Chet, finished with how many points again?
He had 26 points and 7 rebounds.
26 points, okay. I remember watching the game last night. In like the first quarter alone, the Pelicans had 16 points. Chet himself at 13. So, I mean, it wasn't a lot of consistent scoring after that point, but, to score almost as many points as the whole opponent team's total points is just crazy.
Definitely. Chet is a rising star. Everyone tries to make the comparison between him and Victor Wembanyama, but they're both great players, and I think Chet is really showing his presence, and he really showed it in that game.
But Victor is just...
Oh, yeah, Victor's different.
Victor is just built different.
Yeah. Not trying to compare them, but they both have really big impacts for their team. So it was definitely a great game from Chet. I really think he showed out, as well as Shea. Shea, I mean, he has a chance to be MVP. No one talks about that. For sure. So
he won't even talk about it himself.
No.
You saw in the interviews last night, Chet was saying, hey, he won't say it, but this is the MVP right here.
Yeah.
And Shea just looks humble. He's not smiling or anything. He's just keeping a straight face about it.
For sure. And part of this development of OKC and the array of young assets and talents that they have on their team is Shea really developed in the last 2 years. People didn't see him as this kind of player that he could become, but he is an MVP caliber player, and he proves it every night, and he's going to continue to prove it, and this is why I have the Thunder winning this series.
Yeah. Moving on, after yesterday, or before yesterday, there were no teams, every single home team had won in the playoffs until, I don't know if it was Tuesday night or last night, but Indiana and Dallas both won on the road, as well as Miami, but Indiana and Dallas win on the road to head back to their respective cities, tied 1-1, having an advantage. Indiana, they took advantage of short-handed Milwaukee. Giannis is still out, and we don't know when he'll be back. And then with Dallas, even though the LA Clippers got Kawhi back, Dallas still came out with a win here. Luka's just amazing.
Oh, most definitely. And specifically, I'm going to focus on this Dallas versus LA game. But, I mean, what can you say? Luka had 32, 9, and 6. And Kyrie had 23, 6, and 3. So they both had a really good game. I think even though Kawhi was back, I don't feel like he was fully himself. So I take the game with a grain of salt with Kawhi. I know he had 15 points. He was 7 of 17 from shooting, 0% from 3, which is not like him. But I think as he continues to get back and continues to get healthy, this is going to be a good series. And I definitely see this going to 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, exactly. Going off of what you said about a fully healthy Kawhi, I remember watching the 2021 series between these two teams. Up until Game 7, the road team won every single game. So Dallas took the first 2 in LA, and then LA took the next 2 in Dallas. Then it was back and forth. And I was thinking, if maybe the trend will continue, Dallas will win Game 7 in LA. But then, Kawhi just took over in that game.
Yeah.
And maybe we could definitely see that Kawhi back. But it's also like Kawhi has been injured a lot throughout the last couple of playoffs. After his title run in 2019 with Toronto, he's been injured quite a bit. 2021, he missed most of the Utah series and all of the Western Conference Finals. And then obviously in 2022, he missed the whole year. They didn't make it anyway. And then last year, he played the first 2 games. Then he missed the next 3, got eliminated in 5. So hopefully this year he can keep it healthy, and maybe they'll bounce back in Game 3. But I still got Dallas winning this series regardless.
Respect it. I respect it for sure. I take the Clippers in 7 for myself just because it all depends on health for sure. But Kawhi, I mean, when healthy, I believe he is a top 10 player, and he has the potential to be a top 5 player. Paul George is a great wing player. He's really good on defense. He had a really good night tonight as well with 22, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds. And James Harden, same thing. James Harden's a really good player. I think
he's just on and off again with
definitely hot and cold. And same thing with Paul George in the playoffs. So they really need someone to be steady for that team to really continue to compete.
Which I can see. It's Kawhi for sure.
Yeah, I think
he can definitely be that steady guy while the other two are just on again, off again. Because Paul George and James Harden in the past, they've had a playoff series where they're amazing one game and then cold the next. So if they could just have Kawhi just be steady good, then maybe they could actually win the series.
Definitely.
Moving on, Minnesota just won. Well, they didn't just win, but this was 2 days ago. They won Game 2 against Phoenix, against the KD and D Book Suns, putting them 2 games away from winning their first playoff series since 2004. 20 years since they last won a playoff series, which is the only time they've won a playoff series. They won 2, and they've only ever won 2, so maybe they can make it 3 after this series.
Yeah, Minnesota's for real. And even with a bad game from Anthony Edwards, he was only 3 for 12 from the field. Shooting-wise, only had 15 points. He was distributing the ball really well. But overall, not even the greatest game from Anthony Edwards. As we've seen, he is a superstar, and he is playing.
Jaden McDaniels is a dog.
Jaden McDaniels went
He's a
crazy.
dog. He put up 25 in that game.
I
saw this video on TikTok where Anthony Edwards like, they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah.
And he showed in that game.
Yeah, but the big thing I take away from this game is Phoenix doesn't have a real point guard. They made this big three with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant.
They're more just pure scoring.
Yeah, all great players. Amazing players. But when you don't have that true point guard to really distribute the ball and really settle the team down, especially in moments like these, I think it's hard to win a lot of series like that.
It's kind of like the Warriors with Draymond. Even though he's not a point guard, he essentially is the playmaker for the team.
Definitely. He is the distributor. He is the physicalness of the team. So he provides a lot of things besides scoring. And when he is scoring, when he's making three-pointers,
it's GG's.
Yeah.
It's GG's.
But, yeah, I mean, overall, I don't know what the Suns can do to really take back this series. I saw on, I believe it was ESPN, someone was talking about, it might not have been ESPN, but it was Chandler Parsons. I remember he was talking about how they should start Isaiah Thomas. I don't know if I'd go that far.
I don't think so. Especially in this day and age, everybody's tall.
Yeah, and
Isaiah's only 5'9". He's the same height as me.
Yeah,
or he's an inch shorter than me. I'm 5'10", he's 5'9". So like, yeah, he could be that true point guard, but once he gets a switch on someone, it's over.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go that far. Just because I look at Isaiah Thomas more as a scorer as well, but something needs to change, and I don't know. I don't see them being able to come back in this series. If they do, props to them. But especially with Minnesota's defense, I mean, Rudy Gobert is always
Minnesota's defense is stifling.
Exactly.
I saw Rudy Gobert get like 5 steals, and it's probably like only like 2. But I've seen the ball get into his hands like 5 different times.
Yeah, I mean, this most recent game, he had 3 steals and 1 block. So their defense is just really, really good. And unless Phoenix changes what they're doing or what they have been doing,
this could be a clean sweep. It could be.
I think just because it's Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they might be able to take 1 or 2 games. But Devin Booker hasn't even been playing like himself either.
I feel like he's just getting too antsy with the ball because he's been turning the ball over. I mean, he did have a nice game in Game 2, but it's just more of these guys can settle down. Anyway, this is an easy one. Cavs, or Cleveland, Denver, New York. They look to go up 3-0 in their respective series, which Cleveland, I can see that. Orlando's not really good offensively. They're pretty good on defense, but they just can't distribute that defense into points. So I got Cleveland going up. Denver, easy with them too. New York, I don't know if they'll go up 3-0 today. I feel like Philly will take this one.
The last game they played was a really close game.
It was very close.
There was some controversy in it with some calls. I think they're having really good games against each other. They're competing really good, but this series reminds me so much of the Boston-Brooklyn series with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and no, James Harden wasn't there. But
is this the one in 2022, the first round series you're talking about?
Yes, the first round series where every game was really good and it was a sweep still.
Yeah,
and that's just how I see it. I think that New York has a lot of great players. I think everyone's gelling at the right time. Jalen Brunson's been amazing. Dante DiVincenzo, a great shooter. Amazing.
Jalen Brunson's been a bit off. He's had some odd shooting nights, but he gets the job done.
Exactly. So overall, I think they're doing really good, and I just don't see how Philadelphia comes back in this series. I know they have Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, great duo, but
you gotta get help. You got to get help from the other guys.
100%.
Now, moving on, we have the NFL draft tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific time. And the Chicago Bears hold the first overall pick thanks to the Carolina Panthers' 2-win season last year. And, I mean, I feel like that pick is very obvious. Caleb Williams from USC going first. It's the next two picks, 2 and 3, that are a bit still up in the air.
Definitely. Caleb's a lock. Let's be honest here. So, first off, I just want to go over that pick quickly. He's going to be a game changer in Chicago.
Sure. And they gave him a great team.
Definitely.
Like, Chicago traded a bag of chips for Keenan Allen after one of his best years.
Yeah.
And then DJ Moore's coming off his best year. They have a nice O-line, although I still think they could work on that. And then Cole Kmet's not bad for a tight end, but he can get the job done if he's thrown to.
People forget as well, in the back half of the season, Chicago's defense was stifling.
Thanks to Montez Sweat. I feel like he really set the tone.
That was a great addition to the team, and their secondary is really, really solid.
Jalen
Brisker, Jalen Johnson's an all-pro caliber player. Tyreek Stevenson, the second-round pick from last year, he's been really, really good. And I just see the team continuing to get better. I don't know if I would say they're a playoff team just yet, just because it's very difficult for a rookie quarterback to come in and lead a team to the playoffs, especially with Jordan Love there and the Detroit Lions, who were just in the NFC Championship game.
But they could be close. They
definitely
close. Maybe
can.
Next year.
They were a 7-10 team with a below-average offense.
And starting off like 0-4.
Exactly. So that's going to be an amazing pick. The big thing is what they do with pick 9. Are they going to trade back? Are they going to take Rome Odunze if he's still there? Are they going to take a defensive lineman to pair up with Montez Sweat? But this is going to be a very interesting thing tonight.
Yeah. Going on with the next 2 picks, I think Washington has 2 and New England has 3, if I'm not mistaken. New England seems to be set on Drake May, but there have also been rumors that Vegas wants to trade up with Washington to get Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I've definitely heard about those, and I do believe the rumors are true, but I don't see him going past 2 to Washington. I think that they picked up Cliff Kingsbury as their OC, and that spread offense fits Jaden Daniels very well. So I do believe Washington is going to take Jaden Daniels, and unless New England gets a crazy trade package, I think they're going to take Drake May.
I can see what you mean on that. As Niner fans, we are all seeing Brandon Aiyuk. Is he getting traded? Is he getting traded? I do not want him to get traded. I think I speak for every Niner fan here. We do not want him to get traded. There have been rumors that he did request a trade, but then he came out and said, I didn't. But it's like, are they going to pay him, or are they going to ship him off? And if they do, what would they get?
Well, I mean, if they are going to ship him off, they're definitely getting a first-round pick, and that's the minimum. But I think the big thing is really about the contract. We know the Niners are going to offer at least $20 million if they are offering him, but it's what other teams can offer him, because other teams definitely have more money, and the Niners have to pay Purdy in the future.
And don't forget, Aiyuk is probably going to ask for more money, especially after what Detroit gave Amon-Ra St. Brown just yesterday.
So I think that everything has to be weighed out, and I don't know why. I have a weird feeling that he might get traded tonight, kind of like the DeForest Buckner for pick 13. It just with the
that ended up being a lost trade.
That was a really bad trade. They actually traded back from pick 13 to get pick 14, and Tristan Wirfs went in front of them.
Who was an all-pro tackle today, a Super Bowl winning tackle.
Exactly.
Well. And then the Niners picked Javon Kinlaw in 2014. I was kind of pissed with that pick, because I was like, we need a wide receiver, because Emmanuel Sanders left. So I'm like, we should take a wide receiver.
And one of the players that I was really interested in the Niners taking at that point, a lot of people were talking about Jerry Jeudy, who got picked, I believe, the pick after. But I was at that time I was really interested in getting CeeDee Lamb for the Niners, who went to the Cowboys a couple picks later. So, yeah, but I don't believe if we could figure something out, I don't believe he will be traded. I do still have that weird gut feeling, but like you said, I don't want to see him traded today.
I don't want to see him traded either. 2 more things before we end it off. Probably the second best receiving prospect in this draft behind Marvin Harrison. Georgia tight end superstar Brock Bowers. There have been a lot of talks on where he's going to go. I feel like, in my opinion, the LA Chargers might take him.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. I think he fits in that offense with Greg Roman, and they're not really a wide receiver type offense. But I think I don't see him going that early. And LA seems like the type of team that is going to trade back in this draft. But I think he would be a great addition to that offense.
For sure. Another thing is Minnesota might trade up with Arizona to number 4 to get number 4. Because it seems like they have their eyes set on Michigan QB J.J. McCarthy. Which, I mean, it's a bit because J.J. McCarthy's not that, like, superstar potential QB. But, you know, Minnesota seems to think that they could get the most out of him if they trade up for him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trading up to 4, if you're Minnesota, you got to offer a good amount of picks. So you're offering at least pick 11, I would assume 23 as well, and another first-round pick. And
pretty much exactly what Houston offered Arizona last year for number 3, so Houston can move up to 3.
Yeah.
So and obviously Houston gave Arizona, what was it, 1-2 first-round picks? I know they gave them the first-round pick that they have for this year.
I believe
but Arizona has that pick now.
I believe they gave him one that last year in that last year's draft and one in this year's draft.
Yeah, which I think is in
pick 27 now. Right?
It's in the
Houston's?
lower 20s.
Yeah.
As
27.
a Niners fan, I was rooting for the Texans so that Arizona would not get that pick to be like somewhere in the top 10. And thank God for CJ Stroud. I hope he beats Patrick Mahomes next year in the playoffs. But you know, the Chiefs are just they're another type of amazing. Won't go over that, but yeah. And one last thing, who will the Niners take with their first round pick? In my opinion, I'm hoping it's a lineman, specifically a tackle. After the last couple of years of seeing a defensive end with our first draft pick, I hope that trend does not continue, especially after how the right side of the offensive line played in the Super Bowl. I really think that they'll take a tackle here. But if they do trade Aiyuk, then maybe they take a wide receiver. I saw a mock draft a little bit ago. This is if Aiyuk got traded, we would take that speedy wide receiver. What's his name? Xavier Worthy, yeah.
Personally, for me, I think that if it just depends. Obviously, if we do trade Aiyuk, I think that we need to replace him
for sure.
So, wide receiver would definitely be in our vision if that's the case. But there's a couple different ways I'd want to see us go.
If Brock Bowers was available there, I wouldn't mind that. Even though he's a tight end, George Kittle is coming up on 31. Yeah. So like, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Brock Bowers if he was there.
I just don't see any way possible that he falls that far.
That's exactly why. Like, I wouldn't mind if he's there, but that's why I said if, because I don't think he's gonna be there.
Yeah, but definitely would be looking at offensive line. I mean, I would hope that someone like maybe Troy Fatano, J.C. Latham, or Amarius Mims fell to us. If not, we could also look in the secondary. Maybe someone like a Nate Wiggins or Kool-Aid McKinstry fall to us as well.
Kool-Aid McKinstry and Nate Wiggins would be a great pick.
For sure.
Nate Wiggins, especially because like he's very speedy. I'm pretty sure like
very quick.
I'm pretty sure he had like a 4.2 in the 40. I know Xavier Worthy broke the 40 time record in the combine last month.
He got 4.21. Yeah,
4.21. John Ross, wide receiver, was 4.22.
Yeah.
And then the record he broke was Chris Johnson, 4.24.
Yep.
But you know, I guess we'll just have to stick around for the draft tonight and see what goes on. Anyway, that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 2 of the sports show. This will hopefully be a weekly recording. We'll try to get at least 1 or 2 of these a week to you guys. But hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys later.
You guys have a good one. Good one.